Okay. Good evening, everyone. I hope everything is fine. And you are welcome to another edition of our educational efforts by Asset Protection Academy. This is just one of our programs to make sure we all get better informed. Today, our topic is private security guarding business, challenges and opportunities. I know you are here because maybe you're already in the private security industry or you intend to come to the industry either as a staff, employee, business person, supplier of some equipment, or maybe you are a regulator, wherever you are, whatever capacity you are in, you're welcome. And for me, it's always a privilege to have you. Today, we are privileged to have very experienced people who have gone to the, you can say, to the grassroots of what you're going to discuss. So at some point, I'll just give up and then let them take over the discussion, because there's so much they know and they have and they can share. I know not many of us are here, but it's time, so we will not wait. We've lost 6 minutes already. So we will start. The recording will be available. Those who come late can still have it if they want it. Once again, you're welcome. It's 20th March and it's 6:05 p.m. GMT. Okay, so quickly, this is our topic, private security guarding business. As you know, there's a lot of things that happen in the industry. A lot. Guarding is just one of them. So today, our microscope is on guarding, because it is the most, in fact, the guarding dominates this industry in many countries. And it's the same in Ghana. In fact, many people think private security is just guarding, but it's just one subset. So because of its influence and the space it occupies, we saw the need to single it out to discuss it. So check your microphone, make sure that it is muted, and unless you want to speak, make sure it is muted. So let's know ourselves a bit. Let's start from Mr. Ignatius. Tell us your name, what you do, and why you are here.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. My name is Dr. Ignatius Uche. I'm a security expert. I'm joining this call from United States, from Greensboro, North Carolina, precisely. Like I said, I'm passionate about anything security, and that has been my profession for the past 40 years. I've been talking security, practicing security. So anything on security, security is my business. I'm here because I want to still learn, because learning is continual. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Yes, sir. You're welcome, sir. Anthony. Anthony. Okay. Adam.
Okay, I'm Adam Choblew, a freelance security consultant, especially for private security. I just want to have participation.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. Is Anthony ready?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Go ahead.
So I'm Anthony. I'm Anthony Ago with the Armed Forces. I'm here to learn.
Okay. Mr. Moses. Okay, Mr. Moses issues with his. He has network issues. Okay. Mr. Kelvin.
Yes, sir. Sir, please, my name is Kelvin Apasu. I'm a nurse and I work with the National Cadets Corps of Ghana as a drill instructor, a trainer, and I'm into crime and intelligence also, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Good. Michael.
Yes, sir. Good evening. My name is Michael Dako, a Ghanaian, but currently in Liberia. I work with Royalty Security Solution Network, and it's a pleasure to be among this team because always I learn something new. So, as usual, I'm here to grab some knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Seth.
Good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon.
I'm Seth Pomade with the Ghana Armed Forces. I'm here to update my knowledge on security. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good. We have two special guests. I think everybody has introduced himself. Two special guests. One of them is my very good friend. We share the same first name. There's so much he has taught me as far as this industry is concerned. He's here because of his experience. He's done so much, so many years as far as this topic is concerned. So I invited him specially and I warned him that at some point I'll hand over to him to share all that he knows, because even some people who are working in private security companies, sometimes, depending on how you are, you may not know so much about what happens. So he's in the person of Reverend Robert Alexander Budulabi. At the right time, you hear his voice, because there's a lot he's going to share with us. Then we have another special person. I think he's gone over, but he'll come back. He's Captain Joe Awuni, retired. He's the Senior Regional Vice President of ASIS International. ASIS is one of the topmost security professional bodies in the US. So he represents the body in sub-Saharan Africa. He's my mentor. There's so much he knows. He's also here at the right time. He will share something with us. I've seen Madam. Okay, he's around. He has not gone off. Vanessa, you're welcome. Can you please introduce yourself?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Vanessa. I am currently a member of ASIS, and I currently work with Edgard Consulting Limited. Good to be here.
Good, you're welcome. Mr. Kola. Mr. Bukari, can you introduce yourself, please? Okay. The last time I fell into trouble because I didn't introduce somebody. So please, if you can hear me, Introduce yourself if you have not done it. Okay, so let's move on. So this is Asset Protection Academy. Our business is corporate security and safety training. And we also help people who want to write ASIS certifications. As far as I'm concerned, when they say corporate security, it is ASIS. It's one of the professional bodies, as we heard from Vanessa. We help people or individuals or groups who want to prepare and write the exams. If you're interested, you can take the WhatsApp number on the screen and let's talk about it later. These are our other organizations or into private and research as far as security is concerned. So these are a few jobs we've done in the past. Yeah. These are our clients. These are a few of the projects we've done in the past. These are all free sessions that we did. This was on the something for uniform personnel, police, fire service, immigration. You know, we had to prepare their mind as far as private security is concerned. It was a free session that we did. This was just to introduce people into the industry. Like I said, there's so much in the industry, not that many of us don't know. So we did this just to bring up people, give them some awareness so this industry become career choices. It was a 3-day program. We did something on how to start a career in this industry, because not many of us know the opportunities, understand the challenges and everything. So we did this. Then we also help these same people to work on their CVs, prepare for interviews, because we got feedback that there are serious challenges in this area. Then not long ago, we focused on security guards. This was a 5-day package. Everything security guards must do or know, we discussed it. Then we did something on relationship between private security and national security. It was very interesting. And we concluded that
there's destruction everywhere.
Private security is a national security business.
She had space to realize how much I've lost.
Please check your microphone. Private security and national security, you cannot separate them, because private security support businesses and countries survive because of businesses. And businesses are a security issue. Okay? There should be work so that we can work and get money and take care of our families. Good. So today we are here. Private security guarding business. It's a business. So that's me, your facilitator. Very handsome, but without hair. And these are a few of my certificates that I have. This is my book. If you are interested, take the number on the screen, send a WhatsApp, we'll help you to get a copy. It was prepared with you in mind. Because all of us, we are learning almost every day. I like Mr. Ignatius. He said he's always learning. So this book was done for people who have no knowledge in security. And the more they ask themselves the questions in the book, the more they get to ask more questions to people around them about what is supposed to be done. Okay? Good. Private security guarding business. So why did we say business? I know guarding, as it is done everywhere, people do it to make money. Nobody will set up a company that, oh, I want to help companies protect their properties and it's going to be an NGO thing. I've never come across a security company that is an NGO. So they are out there to make money. make profit in the private security industry. And anybody who has made the effort to make money anywhere, there's always a challenge. Yes. And these challenges, if you are able to get the right knowledge, the right people, understand the industry, know what to do right, and improve it, you will make money. That is where the opportunities are. So I remember years ago, there was one Ghanaian who was like the top guy in the gardening business, and his name was everywhere. And from what we gathered, he did so much. So today we are here to understand what are the problems, what are the opportunities, so that if you have the intention of owning a company, I have one guy who said his dream is to own a private security company. You may be dealing with the industry players, you will not know the issues they have. So today we are all going to learn together. We'll tell you what we know, you tell us what you know. Good. So this industry is critical. Private security industry, every country in this world has this industry, because you cannot have the police in every corner, in every premises, in every company, protecting the asset of the company. So you have this crucial element of the security architecture of almost every country on this earth. And it's because of their role they play economically. They protect the economy, because everything that makes money for the country is part of that economy. And it is this economy that this industry is. So it's actually the survivor of the state. States, countries survive on business. And private security is part of this, because of the employment it gives, the protection it gives, the tax it gives the government. And you see them in so many areas: residential areas, corporate institutions, commercial spaces. And this shows their importance. This is specifically reference Ghana, if you're talking to Ghana, okay? And it's growing. In Ghana, you can count more than 400 licensed companies. There may even be more. As there's this data that says that those not registered or licensed are even more. But of course, we don't even do, it's not an area that is attractive for research. So we don't even have current data on a lot of things, especially in Ghana. But this Ministry of Interior data says that at least as of 2022, we had 400 licensed companies. So let's say each company is even employing 100 people. That's 400,000, and that's a lot. And let's say each of them is paying tax every month. Let's say 50 cedis tax. So it tells you the importance of this industry. But with all this, the industry has a lot of challenges. A lot. As we progress, you appreciate. And the reason why this industry is that important is, if you check the ratio, the ratio of police to citizen. As far as Ghana is concerned, it's not so good, because the UN ratio is 1:500. But the Ghana ratio as at 2022 is 1:1,200. So this is the gap private security is filling. Yes, in Ghana, we are lucky there's a law that's supposed to regulate this industry, but as you progress, you appreciate that it's not being fully enforced. So let's see a bit of industry highlights specifically to Ghana. The industry has been growing for the past 10 years. And because there's demand for it. Like I told you, once you establish company, the next thing is security. Those who even know how to do things well, they think about security before the business. Because it's like, okay, I'm going to go into this business. What are the challenges I have to have? One of them will be security. And as the UN does, according to the UN or per the UN SOPs, when they are deploying anywhere, the first thing they do is security. They will send a team to go and assess the security of that place. So as a business person, security should be your first thing. Of course, normally is the capital and the infrastructure that you think about. But it should be security first. Because why will you invest so much? And when you are done, it's like, we didn't think about security. And in most places that I have been, it becomes an afterthought. Yes, so the industry has been growing as far as Ghana is concerned. The market size is big, 2.5 billion dollars by 2024. And we are here. So you see, 2014, it was 1 billion. Now we are in 2024. So this is how the market size has grown all these years. And that is big. 8 to 10% growth. And by 2030, it's expected to go to 4.5 billion. So those of you who are here and you are business people, it tells you the opportunities there, unless maybe Reverend Alex, his revelations will scare you. But of course, business anywhere, any form is tough. And the growth is as a result of rising crime and insecurity, robberies, property crimes, and fraud. There's so much demand for the services, banking, industry, retail, oil and gas, mining. And now, something that most of us also don't know is that governments employ private security guards or private security services, and it comes in several forms. So you go to government institutions that are being protected by private security companies. And most of them, you see them in the critical infrastructure areas. You go to a dam, Akosombo Dam. When you go and meet private security guys there. You go to Ghana Gas, you meet private security. You go to ECG. These are critical national infrastructures, but government is engaging them because police cannot go everywhere. It is more expensive to engage police or like recruit and train police than okay. Yes, so sorry about that. Governments are engaging the services of private security. So there are some people, they are so lucky, they have big contracts with government and checks are coming every month. So it is something we hardly discuss, but government employ so many private security companies. And like I said, private security services come in several forms. It may be the guy, sometimes it's consulting, sometimes it's training. There are private security companies that train police, fire service, immigration, customs, even the military. So private security services are in so many areas. And then now, technology has come to change the game. CCTV, biometrics, alarm systems. So these are the reasons why this industry is growing and is going to grow. And security guards, by estimates, are well over 450,000. This is Ghana. And from what I've gathered, now it is very difficult to retain security guards because the industry is such that companies are not able to pay them very well. So the guy will come 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. In the 4th month, he is gone. And the ratio, as far as private security guard and police officers is concerned, is 3:1. Like I mentioned earlier, from the Ministry of Interior, at least 400 or plus companies are licensed as we speak. And there are so many of them not licensed. And if you don't know, in many countries that you go, there are more private security officers than police officers. So it is such that you cannot leave this industry just like that. You have to protect it. Because when you do that well, they can be used in times of emergencies in several areas. There's so much dependence on the services of private security now. From the table here, you can see that the garden business is the highest, 75%. It's still dominant, but technology is competing with it. Because there are a lot of things that IT is doing, but it will take a long time before we can replace security guards completely. And you can see electronic security, CCTV is 15%. It's growing rapidly. Yes, almost every day new things are coming up. Now you can monitor your security guards, whether they are sleeping or whether they are patrolling. Cash in transit is 5%, and cybersecurity systems is 5%. This is Ghana data. Okay, so a bit of industry highlight. So who are the key industry stakeholders? Specifically to private security, guarding. Who are the key stakeholders? We have company owners, we have, that is the investors, we have company staff, managers, supervisors, administrative personnel, we have security guards. In the case of Ghana, we have Ghana Revenue Authority because we have to pay tax. We have Ministry of Interior. We have, that is the regulatory body, and then Ghana Police, which support the ministry to regulate the industry as far as Ghana is concerned. There's one key stakeholder, is not here, but I'll talk about it. Association of Private Security Organizations, APSOC. I always say that APSOC are business people, individual companies that have come together to form that body. So we are going to look at each of them. We will look at their needs, their challenges, and what can be done. And this whole lecture is going to hover or center around these key stakeholders, because without them, the garden business won't work well. Maybe there are some of them I didn't mention. That is why you are here during the discussion time. You can bring it up. I think clients, yes, I missed the clients. Good. So company owners, they have the money. They are the investors. They are there because they want to make money. So return on investment is a concern to them. Profitability, like I said from the beginning, we all go into business because we want to make money. And one second issue is regulatory compliance, because you have to comply to be legitimate. So that I can come to you and say that, oh, my company is ABCD, we are this, we are registered, we are that. So regulatory compliance is also an issue to them. Depending on the people who own the company, they may not care so much, because if things don't work, then it's a field day. But I can tell you, if things work, it benefits owners of company, because they will get the best quality of gas, staff. They will get the best quality of training. So it's a concern to them. Expansion opportunities. Everybody goes into to expand. Somebody's mic is on. Please check. Check your microphones. So another issue is expansion, because we all go into businesses to expand. Then competitive advantage. Why not? Everybody wants to be the best where they are. But in the face of all these wishes, they have so many challenges. We don't have the time to just talk about all. But some of them are not making profit because of price competition. Now, this is what happens. So I have a company. I said, okay, look, I've trained my gas. I've done all the nice things. So I'm going to charge 3,000 cedis per guard. Then another company goes and say, oh, okay, 3,000 cedis. No, for us, you can pay us 1,500 cedis. The guy who will take the 1,500, how much can he or she pay the guard? This is where the price competition comes in. And I'm sure you are asking, so what happens to the quality service? If I am the client who doesn't care so much of quality of service, why not? I will go in for 1,500 because I have saved 1,500 cedis. And if as a business, you are saving 1,500 cedis on the guard, that is a big deal. In fact, you can rent another guard. So you can get the 3,000. You can get 2 guards, but somebody says that no. They want you to pay the 3,000 for 1 guard. So this is an issue the companies have. The next thing is high operational costs. Companies are like human beings. As long as they are alive, you have to take care of them. So salaries, training, equipment, tasks, all those other responsibilities, you have to take care of it. And this is killing many companies. Many companies are folding up because they are not surviving. The next issue is difficulty in training well-trained gas. Retaining. We all know that labor has become so mobile now. So you have people who have worked for 5 years, they've worked in 3 different companies. This is how the labor market has changed in our time. I'm sure in the time of Captain, you get 1 job, you stay there until you retire. No. Now, labor has become so mobile. and it is serious in the banking industry. The person has worked for 5 years, they've worked in 4 banks. The next thing is their ability to comply, because compliance everywhere is tough. These are some of the issues the company owners are facing. But there's a way out. There's a way out, but it all demands money. So you can look at investment in remote control systems, AI-powered surveillance systems. But like I said, these systems cannot replace security guards now. It's going to take some time. But why not? If some of the issues we discuss can be taken care of by IT investment, why not? And then if you are able to, depending on the market, it will be tough, developing a niche market so that you are known to be, hey, as for this company, they are there. When it comes to cybersecurity, when it comes to security protection, they are up. It is not easy to get there because some markets, they are not looking at the value you give them. They are only looking at the cost they will incur. But it's one area you can look at. You develop a niche for yourself. Make sure your guys are trained. But we were told that it is difficult for companies to retain these trained guys because the guy knows that he's trained. So he can move to a different company and say that, oh, look, me, I've done this training, and everybody is looking for well-trained people. The next area you can look at is strengthening partnership. If you have a corporate client, make sure that you build good relationship with them. If it is a government or an international firm, it will help you as a business owner. Now, let's look at the company staff. Every company has staff. So managers, supervisors, administrative staff, they want structured career growth. Everybody who goes to any job place, the first thing is, what are the career growth opportunities do you have? So these companies need, it's a concern to them. Career growth, training opportunities, better salaries, and incentives that everybody wish you do. Because it is one of the ways to make sure your staff are happy at work. Because the happier your staff are, the more money you are going to get. They work and work for you. So in most cases, they are not sure which regulatory framework is in place as far as their operations are concerned, because areas where the regulatory bodies are not up to the tax, the staff are always confused because they are not sure whether this is what they have to do or this is what they shouldn't do. The staff have challenges, poor salary structures, and it's also letting them leave. So you see, it goes back to the company owner. Your staff are leaving, your guys are leaving. And in most places, you don't see continuous professional development. So if I come as a junior accountant, if I stay here for the next 3 years, what will be my grade? If I come as supervisor, can I become a manager? And if I don't see that, I will not be motivated to want to stay. Difficulty in enforcing compliance. Yes. Like I said, complying to anything, anywhere is not easy because sometimes even training the guys, your staff, to know what they have to do and not what they don't have to do is not easy. But good, Madam Joko, welcome. So, what can they do? At least You can introduce incentive-based, performance-based, but of course, you introduce this when you have the capacity to pay. When the capacity is not there, the staff cannot be motivated. Organization of continuous leadership training, and all these are operational expenses to the company. Already you are suffering. You cannot pay salary well. So why would you want to invest in training? And now training is very expensive. And this is why most of these companies are folding up. And then improvement in what? Internal compliance monitoring. These are all investment. These are all investment. Okay, the next stakeholder is the key people, the security guards. Many of them, their number one concern is what? Better wages and employment benefits. In many companies, because systems are extra cost to the company, they don't have better systems for these security guards. Some even find it difficult to pay Senate's benefit, insurance, because they are all extra costs to the company. Access to quality training is an issue. Career advancement. The guy has come as a fresh security guard. In the next 3 years or 4 years, where will he or she be? So many of them, you ask them, oh, okay, you know, I'm doing this job. When I get a better job, I will leave. Because they can't see that in the next 5 years or 10 years, I will be a supervisor, I will be a manager, I will be that. And sometimes workplace safety, there are issues of sexual harassment, there are issues of human rights issues. In fact, these are summarized, of course, we don't have all the time. But security guards have serious issues. Concerns. Low salary. Some people are paid as low as 400 cedis. Less than $50 for 30 days. Sometimes you leave your wife and you go for night duty, and at the end of the month, you are paid 800 cedis. If you are lucky, 1,500. In fact, few of them get 1,500 cedis. 1,500 is like $100. And an adult who may have children, how do you take 1,500 a month and survive? If out of this, you have to go to work with it, you pay transport every day. Many of these guys are working long shifts, long hours. Sometimes without proper rest. Many of them, please, somebody's mic is on. Many of them don't have a proper training. And their job can be risky depending on where you are protecting or where you are deployed. And sometimes some people work 2 months, they are not paid. Like I said, these are just summarized challenges, but security guards who are key stakeholders in the guarding business, they have so many challenges, so many of them. Some of them pay for their uniform, pay for their, and of course, if you speak to the company owners, they will argue why the guard must pay for his or her uniform. Some of them, you see them, their dress has faded, and it's easy to blame the company owners. But all these things come as extra operational cost to them. Extra operational cost. Yes, I think minimum wage policy will help, but Kenya has done something which is working. They are seriously enforcing the minimum wage. So maybe if government open its eyes. It will also help the issue of insurance. Like I said, all these things where they are not there because of they are all operational costs. So with all this, it becomes difficult for the company owner to pay these guys very well. Market competition. Training, if we can improve training regarding emergency and customer service, and at least ensure that companies are complying with laws. And in the Ghanaian case, you are looking at the Ministry of Interior and Ghana Police Service. It is a tough job if they want to ensure that companies comply with all the regulations. It is a very, very, very tough job. The next stakeholder is the Revenue Authority. In the case of Ghana, they are supposed to be collecting tax. Their concern is companies are not paying tax. Some of them are under-declaring, they are under-reporting revenue. This one, I don't think it's only private security companies. Some of them are evading tax. So these are the concerns of the organization that's supposed to tax these private security guarding companies. Many of the companies, they underreport their revenue. Some operate without proper registration. And with that, if I have not gone to register for tax, how will I pay tax? So I will not worry myself to go and get the tax document or get my name in the system, in the net. And sometimes it's difficult to track some of their transactions. If the money is not passing through the bank, how do you check? How do you go and check the company's books to know what they are doing? But if we can go into digitizing some of these compliance systems, it will help. So it makes noise when we cry about digitalization. If they can introduce some form of incentives for the companies, they will comply. In other places, they have tax something? The more you pay tax, the more you get some money out of it. When you file a tax at the end of the year or something, there's some money that is paid to you. Regimes where these things work, at least to encourage the companies to want to pay tax, and then we can strengthen the enforcement. Now let's look at the main regulatory body in the case of Ghana, the Ministry of Interior. There needs effective oversight of these private security companies. If you are a ministry and you don't have the structure, today there was something I read that they said a company must have a strategy. Okay? After that, you need a structure. Then you need systems. Then you need style. I think it was 7S that companies must have to make sure systems work. So the ministry has issue as far as trying to have a better oversight over these companies. The next issue they have is enforcement of licensing regulations. It is huge. In the case of Ghana, I'm very happy there are a lot of Nigerians here. They will tell us. They will tell us what happens in Nigeria. And I've seen some colleagues from Sierra Leone too. It is a big deal, this enforcement. And then, because you see, when you enforce, the companies will make sure their guys are doing the right thing. So we are going to have public safety and security. But there are issues. They don't have adequate manpower. But like we saw, if this industry can bring us so much money, why can't you have adequate manpower? Why can't you recruit, resource, have the systems, have the strategies, have the structures for them to go and chase the companies and bring the money? They are saying they have limited funding and resources to conduct industry-wide inspections. Yes, it is a huge job. If you have to visit these 400 companies, their premises all year round, that is a lot. But in other places, it's working. And some companies operate illegally. So I always say that we have galamsey in the private security industry. Galamsey is illegal mining. So this is illegal private security. Yes, people have companies, they have contracts, they are getting money, they are getting checks every month, but they are not registered. Don't be surprised. In fact, from my research, I was asked, Colonel, do you expect us to close down our companies and sack our about 100 guys that we have? Who employ them? So you see, sometimes when you hear something, you have to dig deep and you understand. So when they even visit their premises, it is hard for them to push that, hey, close your company down. Because maybe you are looking for license. They've applied for the license 4 years, 3 years, they don't have it. They have got contracts. They have employed guys. They have staff. So the industry can do something about it. Bring in IT. Why can't I stay in my office, go on a website, fill all that I have to fill, whether I'm renewing my license or I am applying for a new one? Why do I have to travel all the way to a specific location? Why can't we have 24/7 people talking to people who have concerns with their license, with their permit, with their renewal, all that? Why can't we do it? Why can't they collaborate with law enforcement to shut down on license? Like I told you, the human face. The human face. So they can encourage these companies to join national security frameworks where they exist. In Ghana, I doubt if we have such frameworks. But there are ways that we can ensure that these companies comply. The next stakeholder is Ghana Police Service. In Ghana, our system, like I said from the beginning, the key stakeholders, the enforcing stakeholders are Ghana Police Service and Ministry of Interior. When you go to the police secretary, there's an office called the Directorate of Private Security Operations. In January, I spoke to the director, and it was so revealing. There are tough issues. They have needs, collaboration. He said, yes, every quarter or so, they meet the private security companies. There are big issues. Better intelligence sharing. In places where systems work, the state security agencies, they work hand in hand with these private security companies. And like I told you, because of their widespread deployment, if this collaboration works, it comes to help national security, protection, public protection, sharing of information. But I don't think it's working, because if you have unlicensed company, how do you go and share information with that company? Support from private security and crime prevention. This is something, in fact, it's a huge multiplier in fighting crime. But I don't think it's working so well, because if the companies working are not complying, how do you go and do all these nice things with them? And they have challenges, because many of the that structured partnership is not there. In some countries, it is there and it works very well. I have been privileged to go to Spain. In Spain, it is the Spanish police that train security guards. You have to go through their system. They will recruit you, train you, give you license. So the collaboration is there. Some companies do not follow proper protocols. Of course, you have not trained them. There's no standardized training for them to do. Why would they follow you? Follow the protocols? Poor training is a concern to the police service. And because of that, it leads to conflict. I've been asking myself whether when you go to police training, recruit training, whether there's a model on private security and how they have to relate with the private security personnel. And then whether when we are training the guards, we tell them why they have to relate with law enforcement. So if we can formalize this agreement, this relationship is going to help, okay? Provide basic training. Like I said, why can't we, I know Reverend Alex will not agree with me, but if we cannot give training of the guards to Ghana Police Service, there should be some maybe regular training together and some workshops, some conferences to bring them on the same page. Why can't we do it? Why can't we encourage the companies and the firms to share this information? Okay, the client is here. The next stakeholder is the client. Those who enjoy the services of these companies. They also have needs, reliable and well-trained security personnel. Can you imagine you've gone to pay a company so much, and then you come to work, you come from work to the house. The time you expect the guard to be there, he or she is not there. And then you have to call the company and they have to rush in somebody reliable and well-trained. So they too, they have issue with the money they pay. They think it's too much. Yes, depending on the company and how well it is doing or not. Somebody's mic is on. So they also have issue about the cost of the money they pay and the value they get. Concerns about integration of IT to physical, because sometimes they think that you come to install something there to either invade their privacy or whatever. So they have concerns. Challenges, underqualified security, and it is so serious. Many companies don't train their guys well. So you go, you meet the guy, he's there in body. If you are lucky, you have a bit of the soul. But the knowledge they need for the job is not there. As for the body, you always meet the body. The soul, maybe 60%, because he'll tell you that, oh, Mikra, this job, you know, I'm doing this job. When I get something better, I'll leave. So you get the body, you get the soul, but the knowledge for the job is not there. And frequent turnover. Yes. Some people, you deploy them, you come to work 1 week, the following week, they just take off. So it leads to inconsistent service. When it's like that, the clients, they always have issues. Customized solutions. Some companies, based on the nature of their operations, want gas trained specifically for their industry. But that is extra cost to the company owner. So they will give you anybody who has been trained on anything. In places that I know, when you go, if you are going to be a security guard in a hospital facility, there's a specialist training they'll give you. If it is a stadium, you have the same thing. If it is a church, if it is a school, in many places, it's not the case. They just give you general training and then they deploy you. But we can do something about it to help the clients. If you can invest in training the guards, provide premium quality packages, but it will come at a cost. And like you said earlier on, the clients are not willing and ready to pay. Many of them. In some places, feedback systems are not there. So it's difficult to even know what is not working. The last stakeholder is APSOC in the case of Ghana. And like I said, there are several other stakeholders. We don't have the time to talk about all of them. APSOC is Association of Private Security Organizations of Ghana. These are business people, company owners who have come together to share common challenges and help themselves. They also have issues. They have needs. Unified voice. Are they talking with one voice? Because these are the people who catch themselves as far as the pricing is concerned. Yes. Do they have a uniform voice? Do they have a standard for they themselves? Are they promoting consistent quality and professionalism by companies, training and capacity building, equipping members? Some of them they wish, but you see, the industry doesn't help them. So they also have concerns, quality training, effective collaboration with all the partner organizations, clients, law enforcement agencies, government agencies, and other stakeholders. Reputation management. When it comes to credibility of private security companies, how is it like? If it is not good, it will be a concern to them. Yes, so the same things we are mentioning, regulatory enforcement is an issue to them because when this enforcement works well, then everybody in the industry will be pushed to do the right thing. And it comes to help all of them. Inconsistent training standards, low public trust. I know many people don't have confidence in the private security system because of what they know, either by seeing the people or some experience they've had. So the image out there is not all that good in many places. Limited funding. It's a very expensive venture. Very, very, very expensive. And not everybody has the money to go into that area. Somebody's microphone is on. Mr. Ampoma. Then they have issue of fragmented membership. In fact, it is a voluntary organization. So not everybody good. Somebody said most of the issues being raised are also in Nigeria. Good. We'll pray for good things to come. Yes, it's a voluntary organization, so not all the companies in Ghana are members of this organization. But something can be done. Yes, if they can strengthen their own whatever governs. Today, I spoke to somebody who said he went to their website and there's nothing there. Yes, they can strengthen their internal regulations, develop comprehensive code of conduct, standardized training program. This is something dear to my heart. I'm just praying for one day where we say, oh, in Ghana, there's a manual, a standard manual approved by the Ministry of Interior that all security guards must go through. I'm looking for that day because it's possible. Kenya is doing it. I don't know of other countries, but Kenya I know because I have a lot of friends there. Kenya is doing it and it is working. Standardized training. They should improve their own public image. Campaigns, let the public know that, hey, this is a very, very serious industry that we cannot afford to leave it the way it is. And sometimes when people know, I don't know of any journalist who has taken this area as a specialist area and report on in Ghana. I don't know. Maybe there are some, I don't know. So their own membership, they can also look at it. I invited their chairman. I don't know whether he's here. Mr. Ibrahim. Yes, another issue they have is funding. But as long as they remain business entities, if they package themselves well, I think they can get funding. Thank you very much. Thank you. They can get funding. So, good. Now let's come to the broad challenges. Most of them, we have mentioned them in passing as far as registration is concerned. It is tough in Ghana. It is tough to register and get a license and operate as a private security. So this is a business person who has money, wants to invest, wants to employ, wants to pay tax. But it's taking him 4 years to get a license. Somebody shared his experience the last time we were here. I don't know of Nigeria, I don't know of Sierra Leone, I don't know of Liberia, but in Ghana, it can take that long. And the last time we had a Kenyan here who said, oh, for them, 1 month. And I was shocked. So the issues, this bureaucracies, it is serious. Renewal of license, permits, inspections, these are all serious challenges. It is stifling this private security guarding business. Like we said, it's a business, and businesses exist to help the citizens, and government benefits by if these companies are paying tax. So we should actually encourage, but it is tough in Ghana to register and get a license. Operational challenges regarding high turnover, we've mentioned, most of the issues we've mentioned them. High turnover, the guards don't stay. They come and they leave. Salary is low, they're not being paid well, career growth. So these are just highlighting things generally, because most of them go beyond just the guarding industry. Limited career growth, poor working conditions. Yes, you go to places, the guards don't have a place of rest. And this one is for the clients. To them, all they know is that, okay, we need 5 security guards. Where they will rest, ablution, all those things in most places are not there. Some of them work so many hours. And their shift system is very, very interesting. If you are coming for night, you go 6 p.m., you have to stay awake till the next morning. The first day I heard it, I was shocked because it was strange to me. In the military, the maximum you can do at night is 2 hours. You do 2 hours, you rest, you go back. Maybe Reverend Alex will educate us. Yes, training, professionalism is an issue. Training in all the areas, firearms, poor understanding of legal and ethical responsibilities. So you see, when you are a security guard or security officer, you have huge responsibilities. There are so many things you cannot do. Somebody asked the last time, can I arrest? Yes, arrest. Everybody can arrest. But what you do after the arrest is the key issue. Do you have the capacity to send the person to the police station immediately? Can you call police to come for the person? And the person was asking me, when we arrest, can we beat? Even police are not supposed to beat. It's against the law to beat unless you do something to restrain this suspect. Beating is not part of the arrest procedure. Regulatory challenges, weak enforcement. This is a big deal. Weak, because like we have seen, the resources are not there. Yes, the ministry, as we saw, don't have the systems in place. There are so many loopholes. The people are underpaid, they are untrained, under-equipped, all the bad things. You can see it in this industry. And everything goes to the fact that the enforcement regime is very weak. Legal and liability risk. Are we able to take care of the liabilities our gas bring? And you see, liabilities will be high because you have not trained them. They don't know what they have to do and not to do. So your gas will go and use excessive force when they are not supposed to. They will go and detain somebody wrongly. They will go and do something negligently. I know of a case where an owner of a company, okay, continuous reports from clients. One fine morning, they called him, reported such thing, the man collapsed and he died. It's like he was fed up. This comes with so many things, either training, lack of supervision, a whole lot of things. And many of them lack protection mechanism. You see, once you go into this business, there are a lot of things you have to put in place in the form of insurance. And as we all know, insurance is extra operational cost. So not many of the companies do that. Now, many of them, their businesses are being disrupted with IT systems. Okay, maybe the man was asking for 3 or 4 gas because they think they have CCTV now, because they think they have other systems. They don't need so many gas now. It's affecting the businesses. Now there are new things coming up, the use of drones, biometric, access control systems, replacing human beings, remote monitoring. All these systems are affecting businesses in this industry because they are expensive. You see, the transition from the traditional gas to some of these systems, it's expensive. It takes money, and not all the companies are able to do it. So many of them are folding up. Now, cybersecurity threats is also not helping the industry, because places where companies handle sensitive information, there are a couple of cyber attacks. And when it happens like that, it's like either even the staff, these guys, whatever they are helping these attacks, whatever it is, you can tell. So though there are very good side of the IT innovations and the introductions and improvement, it has its own challenges and it's affecting these companies. Market competitive pressures. Like I said from the beginning, many companies are charging so low, such that those who have trained their gas and they want to provide premium services, they are finding it tough. Yes. Sometimes there's a thin line between a professional guard and untrained guard. So if the client doesn't have the eye to see, for them, security guard is security guard. They go for anything. And especially when over time, even the very good guys have not proved what it means to be good, what goes into being good. They just go for any guard. So the price competition is very, very, very tough. And it's leading to poor service, because you can provide any service, you get your cheap rate. Reputation and public trust, because there are so many issues of misconduct, corruption, lack of professionalism, and this has damaged public trust in many private security companies. Yes, it is serious. So if we are not making efforts to improve training, the issue of ethics and accountability, we are losing credibility. And like I say, where you don't hear government people preaching the relevance of the industry, preaching the contribution of the industry, nobody knows that that industry even exists. But like we said from the beginning, this is an industry that has gas more than police officers. So you cannot hide it. You cannot overlook their importance. Okay, with all these issues, there are opportunities. So don't give up. If you have the intention of owning a private security company, don't give up. There are opportunities, because the demand is there. The demand is there in high-risk places like mining, oil and gas, banking. Some of them need specialized solutions. So why wouldn't your company focus on a niche area, specialized area, maybe event security? Your guys are just for events, parties, birthdays, and these are part of society. So every weekend, conferences, workshops, they all need security. So why not? You can go into the business, but have a niche for yourself. VIP protection, executive protection. You can go into cyber security or digital services, event security. So the opportunities are still there. The demand is there. We will never stop doing parties, doing political rallies, doing concerts, doing shows. So the demand is there. As economies grow, the demand for private security service also grow. And in Africa, almost every African economy is growing. Even when they say, oh, the economy has slowed down, it's still growing. And as long as we have what is called an economy, the demand for private security service will never go away. The areas of real estate, industrial zones, international business district, they are coming up in many places. Real estate alone, I mean, most places that you go, you have so many real estate coming up, they cannot exist without the service of private security. And these are contracts when you get and you are serious, the money, in fact, you can have it for life. Because there will be no time that they will say, hey, we don't need gas again. Yes, if you combine both IT and gas together, you can be in good business. Yes, use the security guard and then introduce all the good things that are coming up in the IT area. Train. If these guys are trained very, 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 very well, it makes all the differences. Train. If you are going to go to this area and you're going to make sure your guys are well trained, of course, it's a business. So you look for marketing, you look for branding, you do all the good things. Some people, you may be charging a bit expensive, but they will still come. Yes. Some people target specific industries like the oil industries, the mining. They they pay relatively better. So the opportunities are there. Like I said, yes, businesses must have systems, must have structures. If you have them well, if you have good partnership with all the law enforcement bodies, you collaborate with them very well, it can make a huge difference. Huge partnership, PPPs, public-private partnership. If these things are deliberately planned and executed, it will make a huge difference. Huge difference. Franchising and outsourcing. Maybe you have the money. A company has their license already. Why not? You can franchise. I've gone to places where people buy already existing companies. Some even buy and they don't change anything. They will use the same uniform, same everything. So you go, okay, I have my company. I'm not more interested. I want to sell. Yeah, it happens. So you can do that. You can do that. You don't need to start the registration all over again. Yes, compliance and standardization, if things are done properly, collaboration between police and the ministry and all other agencies, if we are going to do that well, to tighten regulations, ensure higher standards, make sure you introduce professional certifications, a lot can change. In fact, I have a senior, I don't know whether he's here, he is into the business in the UK, and today we spoke. It was nice listening to him. Because they are doing things well and it is working. We can also start bits and pieces. And we'll go there. If we encourage this relationship, things can change and change very well. Good. So this is the end from my side. I'm going to invite Reverend Alex. Like I told you, he's been in the industry for so many years. He will share all that we need to share. Some of the things I've said, he will throw a better light on it. So, Reverend, please, you are invited.
Thank you, Colonel. Good evening to gentlemen and lady or ladies. I think two ladies here. It's an opportunity to come and talk about an industry that some of us are very passionate about, and we have been in it for over a quarter of a century now. And I don't know where to start, because Colonel, you've basically covered all grounds about our industry, and it's very insightful. And as usual, you've done your work well, your research work, so you've given everything about the industry. Now, well, yes, unfortunately in Ghana, per our law, which is LI 1571, that we sort of, kudos to our big brothers Nigeria, we copied our law from you 1992. So we have that rivalry between us and our Nigerian brothers, in Black Stars, football everywhere, in private security industry. Our LI 1571 was virtually lifted from the Guards Company Act of Nigeria, if I remember right. But I think it's been amended a couple of times. Unfortunately, Ghana, we have done only one amendment in 33 years. And that was to increase the service, the licensing fees and renewal fees. And that has been the trend. That has been a trend in some countries where regulation is seen as a way of making money, instead of rather developing the sector or the industry. Regulation is a specialized field that I believe those who are in charge should really study and understand. Looking at our law at LI 1571, amended as LI 1579, that was service rate 33 years. We had our law as a country before South Africa, before Kenya, before the UK, that is Ghana and Nigeria. But they have advanced, far advanced in their regulation. And I believe that it's time that this conversation of regulation should go on to the next stage, because we are lagging behind as a country. And as Colonel rightly put it, it's the regulators' faults or inaction that has caused all this inertia this lack of professionalism, lack of training in the industry. For example, if you look at the regulations of South Africa, Kenya, Gambia, Uganda, UK, they talk about training. There's a provision in, unfortunately in Ghana, we don't have that in our airline. Therefore, what happens? The security companies decide to do whatever they want. Just put people in uniform and it's there. Minimal training, yes, I've been in industry, I know what it is, where you take somebody today, 1 hour, you just tell him what to do, put him in uniform, and that evening he's at post. And that's more of a risk to the clients. And that is where Colonel has also pointed out is reputational damage. Because in my practical experiences, I've gone down that route before. I've seen how this goes. I've lost a contract the same day I started because the client was savvy in terms of security. I realized that this person you brought here does not understand what they want. So unfortunately, that's the downside of our industry, which I believe that it's quote unquote the fault of the regulator, because human beings as we are, you give us 1 inch, I will say we will take 1 kilogram. So if there's no provision for training, why should I train? And as much as it will benefit my company, it also comes at a cost, which Colonel has talked about. So basically the challenges in the industry in Ghana is hinged around regulation. And if the regulation the regulations are changed and enforced, because for example, our system is a duopoly in terms that the Ministry of Interior.
I saw you're chatting me. Okay.
Somebody's mic is on. Reverend, go ahead.
Okay. Yes. It's a duopoly in the sense that the ministry is responsible for policy licensing and renewals, while the Ghana Police Service is supposed to be the operational wing of that industry, doing enforcement and inspection. And I can personally tell you that 25 years in being in this industry, I've only had 1 visit from the police. In some companies, zilch, nothing. So we have a big lacuna in that area where we are allowed to do what we want to do. So the industry suffers from a lack of professionalism in there. Secondly, what I want to talk about is, can I also mention about terms of the remuneration? It's no fault of the industry, because the industry, it's regarded in Ghana, as in other countries, as a commodity industry, a vendor-client relationship. So a client is looking for a security company. They throw out a bid. They don't go for the best company. They don't go for the most professional, because most often their rates will be higher. So they'll look for what they can make profit. But at the end of the day, it costs them because there's a lack of professionalism, there's a lack of training. So the client comes and look at the companies, as Kenneth brightly pointed out, one charging 1,500, 3,000, 2,000, he'll go for 1,500 because it makes sense for him economically. But he doesn't look at other factors that goes into having a professional person at post. If somebody trained for 3-4 days, has an idea of the industry, that can be of benefit to you, the client or the end user. But often they don't look at that. On Monday, I had a meeting with a client. It's a very big organization in Ghana. And we are 10 companies providing service for that nationwide company. And about half of the companies don't have communication provided. So I told the client that it's your fault. Your contract states that you should have communication. You should have this, and you don't enforce your SLAs. So why would the guys take you serious? They won't, because it's clearly stated that every post should have communication, whether radio, or whether mobile phone or whatever, but there should be communication between the post and the control room of the company, and also the control room of the clients, who are set up a very beautiful control room. But most of the companies don't have communication. It's a challenge. You would have, for example, the client is complaining about calling a guard, and the guard says, I'm not at work, and the phone is my personal phone. And they are using their personal phone. The company have given their personal numbers to their clients. So when the guard closes and puts off his phone, he's done, and there's nothing you can do about it. So that's also the challenges that where the clients don't enforce their SLAs, because maybe they did the wrong choice in the beginning. They went for the cheapest company. So you can't, as they say, if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys in a certain sense. So that's one of the challenges in the industry, where we as service providers take advantage, quote unquote, of clients. Training is virtually, yes, some companies do good training. Yes, but it's expensive. And unfortunately, talking from personal experience, many years ago used to train my guards minimum 1 week. I brought in the fire service to do fire training. I brought in the Red Cross to do first aid training. They try to do the right thing. Brought in drill instructors from the police and the military to do that. It was expensive. Then what happens? Companies that come from foreign countries, I don't want to mention names, who have financial power, come to take our guards because they can pay better. They've got contracts that are paying better. So also as an industry, we are doing poaching. Cannot mention it. We fight amongst ourselves. You go and put you quotes, and somebody undercuts you. You have companies which cannot rightly pointed out who are not licensed. Some don't even have a license at all. Some have licenses that have expired. And the renewal process is also another challenge which can also highlighted on. The process for renewal, it's a bit cumbersome. The process for registration is a bit cumbersome. It's a good industry. Anybody interested in it, do your homework, come in and cannot rightly put it there, get a niche market. And you can go in there and do well in the industry. But your systems have to be in place. Your structure have to be in place. But the regulatory framework does not really help us. And the end users too are a major problem. For example, yes, Colonel, I know in the military, you go for a 2-hour shift. Then you are changed. We don't have that luxury. The laws in Ghana says it's a 40-hour week. But the convention of the industry, with the clients, are the major fault of that, is 72 hours. That's what the guards work. They work 72 hours. It is contrary to the law. Because the laws, the labor law, states 40 hours, 8 hours a day. You have to pay for holiday, overtime, a time and a half, leave and all those things. But the clients, when you put all this into your quotes, the client won't take you because like you've overpriced yourself at the market. Because the client won't pay for all these things. He says, this is what I have. Take it or leave it. And automatically, the burden falls on the client. So if the guard is, for example, the client is paying you 1,500 cedis. Averagely, you're going to pay the guy around 800 or 900, at topmost 1,000, because you have to do your overheads, which is a problem. So we have that thing where the guards are overworked. So now the industry convention, which is legal, is that 6 days in, 1 day off. But there are companies, for example, I have 2 very good clients. They are foreign-based companies that comply with the industry. I mean, with the laws of so they even did that. So we do 4 days, 2 days out. We do the normal 48 hours, the normal 40-hour week, which they pay for and everything. We have a challenge with transportation. So the same guard who is paid 800 cedis or 900 cedis has to find their own transport to work. 90% of the companies do not provide transport. They don't provide meals. Talking about the uniforms, yes, ideally clients pay for uniforms, but there are some companies that will let the guard pay for it. Because of the frequency or the turnover, some companies have adopted a system of holding back your salary, a month's salary, or deduct for uniform or what we call for your kits, so that when you want to leave, you leave properly, like as you do in the military and the services, you come and check your kits. If everything is checked, everything is approved, then they are giving you a final check. But in our industry, most people don't do that. You train somebody today, he leaves your uniform, everything. So that is where companies keep some money back to sort of recoup from their investments, which is one of the major challenges we have. What you touched on about companies taking money for uniforms. It's not really that they are taking money, but they are taking a sort of guarantee so that when you leave, you are living properly. So that's one of the challenges that we have in there. I've spoken about undercutting. I've spoken about the lack of regulatory supervision. And back to a point you mentioned about the garden industry. When, for example, because of what I said, the law, LI 1571, it has restricted the industry to garden, which is actually the largest globally. and locally too. So most of the enforcement mechanisms are geared towards that aspect. But other aspects are there. For example, if you look at Ghana, basically we have like 8 subsectors of the private security industry, but it's only one that is generally regulated, which is the garden, the formal garden where private security organizations go in. We have the other aspect where it's corporate security, where companies have their own in-house security officers. Universities have them. Governments have government organizations have in-house security and those things. It's still part of private security, but in Ghana, it's not regulated. Executive protection is somehow not regulated. We have event security, we have electronic security. All those aspects, canine security and things, are not regulated per 1571, LI 1571. So that's a vast area that where some of us who are willing to go into should look at. That what can we do in these sectors? I know conversations have started, they are ongoing, that hopefully in this year, there will be some changes in the private security industry as regulated by LI 1571 that would cause companies to upgrade, to increase in training. It's a business, it's a growing business that you have to invest in, but unfortunately, it's a challenge. We have challenges with payments of our taxes, because, for example, you give an invoice that's supposed to have a tax component, a VAT invoice to your clients. Your client takes 2 months to pay you, but the tax authorities are expecting their money within, let's say, the middle of the month. The client has not paid you. You don't have the money to pay it. Because in our industry, it's a matter of heads. The more heads you have, the higher your numbers, the higher your margins. So if your client has not paid you, 15th, tax authorities, SNITS, is expecting your money. If it's not paid, penalties are applied. January 15th, they want their VAT returns. You have not received it from your clients. Penalties are applying. So the time you receive your money from your client to go and pay, is that you're eventually making a loss. So that's one of the practical challenges in our industry on the ground, where the tax authorities don't understand what our business is. Most people think that in the industry, we fleece our guards. But typical example, you are charging 1,500, you are paying the guard a take home of 1,000 cedis. You are paying his 12.5% SNIT and tier 2 payments. You've not taken your uniform costs, your overheads out of it. So you are virtually making nothing. And I know, because I'm in the industry and I help other companies out, a lot of the companies are making losses. They just look good. But if they were to do a proper financial analysis, it's not a growing concern. It's a business that should be closed. But unfortunately, in Ghana or Africa, we like to have that semblance of doing something. But practically, as a business concern, it should not be operating because they're making losses. So you realize a lot of companies make losses end of the year. You can't afford your vehicles, you can't afford communications, you can't afford to change uniforms, you can't afford to pay your people well. Because the simple fact is that the finances are not there. You can get very good clients that pay you well. Most of these clients are multinationals. Yes, we have a few local companies that are good in that respect, but the average client, it's a challenge. You have if I were to take my practical example, let's say I receive from let's say 100% clients, I'll get my income from about 20% income before the end of the month. I actually work for a government organization that owes me since 2016. It's a Ghana government organization. They owe me since 2016. So on the ground, these are some of the practical challenges that we face in the garden industry. Don't get me wrong, it's a good industry, you're interested, come in. I'm sure those of us who are in it know what it means. Kind of spoken about technology. It's a very good thing to do. Practically, I use technology for most of my supervision because cost of fuel is high. Cost of fuel is high, which keeps on changing every month. Meanwhile, you sign a 1-year contract with a client, you can't go back to review the cost. What the contract says, at least have 2 patrols in the day and night. You've factored in your fuel cost. Before the contract period ends, fuel has gone up about 4, 5, 6 times. That is in Ghana. Where do you get the money from? You have to squeeze that from some place. So it's a challenge on the ground in terms of operational logistics. Supervision. You have a wide area to cover. Traffic situation. So what we need to do is use technology, which I sort of have adapted for electronic supervision, guard tour systems. I sit on my phone, my control room sits there, is able to monitor the guards online, communicate with them, put in the physical inspection every other day or whatever, just to make ends meet. Uniforms. Practical example, I work for a mine, fixed contract. They have a specific criteria for safety wear, PPEs. Every week in Ghana, prices change. So you've signed a contract with a client, the boost for, let's say, the boot is 400 cedis. He pays you over 12 months. That 12, so every month he pays a bit of the 400 cedis. A guard stops work today, he goes with the boots. You have to employ the new guard. You go to the market and buy the boot. Now it's now 500, it's now 600. You can't go back to the client. So then you have to sort of cut corners to make ends meet. That is where Colonel, that issue of holding back some money for uniforms comes in, because prices go daily. So these are some of the practical realities on the ground in our garden industry. So to just sum up, Colonel, brilliant presentation. You've covered all the bases, all the points. We need our Ministry of Interior. We need our police departments, our police service. We need the stakeholders, the CSOs. We need ABSOC. We need everybody, end users, to come on board and say, look, this is an industry. And you rightly said it. The last figures I checked, we have 100,000 private security people. I mean, I know it's more because some of the companies, for whatever reasons, understate their staff. All critical infrastructure in Ghana is guarded by private security. Airports, dams, electricity, water systems, telcos, name it, private security. Unfortunately, we don't have a seat in our national security architecture. It's an industry that is like the stepchild that should not be seen. But this is what we do. And one of the interesting things about it is all those people who are in charge of national security, police officers and stuff, who don't pay attention to the industry, when they retire, then they want to come to the industry, but they didn't prepare the ground for the industry to grow. I often tell, and Colonel, that story you told about the person who died from a heart attack. I tell some of those that know, I say, look, at your age, please don't do garden. You can get a heart attack or pressure or stroke. Because the guard there on the ground does not really care about it. He's just coming as a stopgap measure to get some money. They can connive, it can be negligent, and to cost you. So we need to reiterate, we need our stakeholders, particularly the Ministry of Interior, the Ghana Police Service, the Attorney General Department, Ministry of Labor. These are the organizations who are stakeholders. Can we didn't mention, but the Ministry of Labor is a key stakeholder because they are the ones who will be able to enforce the 40-hour week.
Yeah.
Because when it's enforced, you, the client, can't tell me I should work 72 hours. I say no, it's against the law. That is some of the challenges that we face on the ground. We are not recognized by the states in a certain sense. They only recognize us to get our license fees. Unfortunately, that's what I have to say, that you pay your license fees, then you are left to do whatever you want to do, or your renewal fee, you are left to do on your own. So basically, Captain, that's what I want to share. I won't take too much of the time because we've practically covered. If there are questions or any comments from anything that I can help with.
Thank you.
I'm ready to do that. So thank you very much, Colonel, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. Yes. So you see, I told you, I promise you. These are the both and nuts of what the soldiers, the food soldiers are facing every day. Okay, I know there are a lot of security experts here, but there are 2 people I invited, Reverend and another father of mine. So I'll give him maybe 5 minutes He is coming to talk about the standard, because he works for ASIS International. He's the senior regional vice president, Sub-Saharan Africa. Retired, some say retired captain, some say captain retired. But it is captain retired because the rank never retires. Joe Awoni, he's my father, he's my friend, in fact, he's a senior citizen, but he's my friend. He's my mentor, and there's a lot of things he does for me. So most places when I'm moving around, he moves with me. So he's here. Sir, please, you are invited.
Okay, Colonel, with this introduction, I think I have to think about increasing your allowance. Yeah, I mean, you virtually covered everything, and as usual, Reverend Alex will come and close up all the gray areas. You know, when he's talking, you have to listen. If you miss it, then you got to bribe him for him to repeat, because there's a lot of wisdom and knowledge in what he says. But you said what I was going to talk about, standards. It is what I like to talk about, you know, because I think that brings about the excuse for us to charge whatever we have to charge, and then to know what we have to do. I'll give you this example. I saw a security guard. This was several years ago. And the way this guy, in fact, on 2 occasions, on 2 particular days, I was at a place and this same guard passed by that, and, going to his post. And he was looking very smart. I'm not going to mention the name of the company. And sometime later on, I said, no, I wanted to see this company. I mean, very impressed with one guy that I had seen. When I went to the office, I mean, I was so disappointed. So disappointed. The training area wasn't complete, and it was at the mercy of the weather, that if it started raining, maybe the few roofing sheets on top of their heads would stay in place, but if there was wind, they were in trouble. Now, what am I talking about over there? Outside, everybody would think, yeah, that's a great company like I thought. But deep inside in the background, no good. And guess what? I said I wanted to meet with the trainer. So I'm told about this guy. He had been mentioned to me much earlier. So eventually I got him before I left the office. And when he came, he was standing there and shaking. I said, hey, are you the one who's been training this guy? I said, oh, yes. And he was looking so confident. I said, but how did you get to this stage? How did you come to this standard of training? He said, oh, some years ago, they were the ones who were selected to go and do training in Burma camp. And I said, no. Tell me, how did you qualify to be a trainer? And he went back trying to tell me how they were bundled to Burma camp. In other words, he did no training, because I wanted to know his rank. But if he mentioned the army, then at least he must have a rank. He couldn't tell me that. But he had gone about, and that was the second company that he was actually employed as a trainer. And he was training guards. I'll ask you this. What sort of training was he going to give? What he has seen other people do, what he has seen on Netflix or Googled or whatever. I mean, no standards in that. So if he didn't know, how was he going to pass on that knowledge to others? And when I asked about his training records in the office, nobody could produce anything. This is what is flowing through everything that we have. We don't actually want to think about training. We always just want to have somebody who has been trained already. But even that, if this guard has been trained as a bullion van escort, and then you go and employ him and put him at a bank, he's not going to be comfortable. He knows how to ride in the van and drive around. What he doesn't know is how to sit down and do nothing and not even hear the sound of engine. But the problem is with our bosses, our big men, the managers. They have difficulty in saying that you're going to train. And the excuse is always, oh, when we train them, they leave and go somewhere else. And then I will ask, but were they not speaking English before you got them? Did they not get trained by somebody else? So if you have spent money training the person and you don't want him to go, treat him well. Make sure that you can pay him well. It goes a full circle round to say that, oh, well, other people will take lesser money and then employ them. I spoke with this manager who was refusing to train his guards. The last time they had trained was about 3 years before. And I said, but you must do at least 1 day refresher every year if you've trained them already. Not just every year, but every 6 months. You must do at least 1 day. And he said, oh, you know, the finances and so on and so forth. 2 weeks later, this guy had gone abroad to go and do a course. Now, when I checked on even the flights, his flight to that part of Europe, it was more than what would have been charged to train about 20 guards. But here was a case where he was happy to go abroad, go and do whatever course he was going to do, and he didn't care about what the guards did, forgetting that he needed to ride on the back of those guards, doing a good job, maintaining the contract that he had to enable the client pay him good money so that he could even travel abroad. So standards, we don't care about that. And yet we want to reap. And this is going to have a very, very big effect on us. One other thing that I don't understand is when someone says, oh yeah, I'm a security expert. I don't mind that title, but you cannot be a security expert. In what? You know, if you say, even being a security professional, you have to have an area where you specialize in. You cannot be responsible for everything, except, of course, you are the manager. But it is important for us as practitioners to know where our strengths are and to concentrate and make sure that we are good in those areas. If you are there and you think that you're going to be good in every area, I think it is really, really, really wrong. And you will not do a good job. The fact is that we have guards belonging to companies who have been trained to stand at gates, to patrol buildings. That is what they know. You can't use the same people to go and say they are managing crowd, even though they would have been trained in guard duties, which would include that. But they have been used to taking care of empty buildings or estates and that kind of thing. Why don't you concentrate on that? Because if we did that, everybody would have a job. And I can tell you that we have more security jobs in this country than we can actually cover. It's just that we are doing it badly, and the few who know what to do are covering all the areas. You have people who are starting companies when they know nothing. They don't even know anything. All they are calculating is how much they are going to make. I have seen a few of these, and I don't want to name drop, but I go away very disappointed. Someone who invited me to have a chat with them, I thought, okay, I'm in your area, so let me come in there. And I was taken into the control room, what he called control room. The first thing that I saw when the door was open was a bucket and a mop, and some brushes in one corner. Then I went behind the door. There was a desk with some telephones. That was it. That was the control room. And there were 2 young ladies sitting in there. I asked them what they were doing. They said, oh, they are control. I said, are you receptionists? They said, no, control. Now, that is a big joke. That is a big joke. If you're going to do a job, take your time, do the research, check with others what others are doing before you even step in there. Because the client comes and he sees that, well, if for any reason nothing happens, so they don't check on you, then that's okay. But when they do, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to be the same brush they use to brush everybody else. Like everybody, in security doesn't know what they do. Which brings me to the point where everybody thinks that security is the easiest job. Security is the easiest job. Just let him stand there, open the gate. This day and age, we don't even need human beings to open gates. Just get that. But we cannot say we are doing away with human beings. So it is for us who are in the profession to make it look important. We have to make it look important. And that is why your main gate to your office should look fine. And the person who is there should be looking fine. If anybody shouldn't be looking fine, it's probably you, because you are busy doing everything else. But you must make sure that the people you are taking care of are working. And that is when you've got the standards and you know that you're going to meet those standards, you're going to keep to those standards. And if we all do that, I tell you, we're going to raise the bar so high, everybody will be talking so well of us. I think I'm just looking at the time, and I know the time is up. So I'm not going to push my luck in this, but I'll end up by saying, if you are here and you haven't heard of ASIS International, or you've heard of it, but you haven't had anything to do, I'm not advising you. If I had my way, I would drag you to register today. Because if I talk about standards, that's where it all starts from. And I'll tell you something. If I'm going to relate with anybody regarding security, if you say you belong to ASIS, I start talking to you. I don't have any problems at all, because I know you have certain basic knowledge about, the systems that I will not have any worry about. But I think as professionals, you must belong to an association. You must belong to a group of people who do this.
Ignatius' hand is up. Please go ahead. It appears we've lost Captain.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sorry, I'm here.
Okay,
Oh,
sorry,
okay.
he's back.
Okay.
Sorry. Sir, go ahead.
Oh, no, let him. I think he has a question. So.
Okay, please go ahead, Mr. Ignatius.
Okay. Thank you very much, Captain, for your concluding remarks. I really appreciate that, especially with respect to membership of ASIS. I've been a member of ASIS for over 18 years now, and I'm a CPP and a PCI holder with ASIS and also a CPO. So you understand where I was coming from when I introduced myself as a security expert. I've been in the security industry for 40 years, practicing security and talking security. So with practical experiences, conferences, seminars, lectures that one have undergone over the years, I think that's why at times people don't regard security, because we don't see security as a profession. If I come and introduce myself as a medical practitioner or as a legal practitioner, people will begin to say, oh, a learned gentleman is around. But in the security industry, there are people who have actually gone to the peak when it comes to security. So we should see security as a profession anywhere and everywhere. So that's why I registered for this. When I saw this, every opportunity I have to learn, like I said, I'm responding to this call from the United States of America. It's not that I don't have anything doing, but when it comes to security, it's an industry that I'm so passionate about. And I've learned quite a lot. In fact, this is not just like a lecture. This is a teaching class, because all the speakers were down to earth, practically giving those challenges in the private security industry. So I want to ask some few questions, and then I'll be done. I've noticed that we are running the race of time. The questions I want to ask, are there some basic level entry requirements for security in Ghana? I'm a Nigerian, though I live in the United States. So, and I've been part and parcel of most security associations in Nigeria. And I need to know, is there any basic entry requirement when it comes to educational standard for guards? Another question is, how do we profile guards before we bring them into the industry? Or do we just go to the street like my speaker have said and drag people, put them on uniform, the next day they are security professionals? And then the next question is just questions I want to ask. Why is security industry regarded as a cost center globally, not just only in the third world countries, even in developed societies? Why? Then my next question is, why are guards not recognized and not well paid among other professions? Why? Then, are there some areas of sanctions for non-compliance by the operators in the private security industry? I mean, in terms of regulatory penalties and sanctions in Ghana. Then I know some legal framework have been mentioned. I want to know if the private security industry in Ghana is given a legal teeth from the National Assembly. Is there any law actually backing private security practitioners? Some regulatory frameworks were mentioned. I didn't get that in absolute terms. Then another question is, are private security in Ghana allowed to bear arms? I know in Nigeria we are battling with that challenge, and we've made various presentations to the National Assembly, but it's still a work in progress. So these are some of my concerns, and I want to see if there are some responses to them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will hand over to Reverend. The first is the cost center one.
Thank you very much, my senior brother. And it's not easy to be 40 years in our industry. So congratulations, sir. And we want to grow to be like people like you. Well, cost center, it's like they see security like insurance. If nothing happens, then they don't see your value. Something happens, knee-jerk reaction, putting on all the measures and everything. So if they see it as a cost center, from my point of view, because nothing gets stolen, nothing gets missing, that would bring security to the table. But when something goes wrong, a security also brought to the table, they also look at it that, okay, why didn't you do your job well, or whatever happened? In organizations, it depends, corporate organization, every organization is different. Some organizations I know don't see it as a cost center per se. But generally, as we said, worldwide, we see it as a cost center because they don't see our value. Because often, when I do training, I tell guys, some of you might work for 10 years, you might never even catch a thief. The client might not see you as valuable. So you catch a thief because they think that the job is a security officer, but he doesn't think about your presence deterring crime, your presence giving people a sense of security, sense of safety, sense of well-being. They don't see those intrinsic or intangible aspects of security protection. They only say that, the whole year I've paid X amount of dollars for security, and what did they really do? So that is, for me, my basic understanding of why it's a cost center.
The next one,
secondly,
the background check.
Yes, in Ghana, we do have what they call the police vetting. Before you do the industry, before you enter the industry, they're supposed to go to the police for vetting, which is also another process that some of us are battling because it can take a long time. If you are waiting to employ the guard before the vetting comes, it's another challenge. But from personal experience, I said, look, half of the criminals have not been arrested for their fingerprints to be in there. Those who have been arrested will not come into the job. Yes, you have some who have come who the fingerprints have revealed that they had criminal backgrounds. So basically in Ghana, before you start employment, the police is supposed to do a vetting. What we call, basically a fingerprint vetting. We don't do a positive, they do like what we call a nominal vetting, check your fingerprint against the database. If you are clear, clear. But we don't do positive vetting where you might go a step beyond asking about a person's character. That is left to the companies to do.
Then why are the guards not recognized or the industry not recognized?
I think it's come from the tradition of seeing the security men in Nigeria. They call them my guards. If I have the red, I'm like watchmen. So they call us
Megad.
Megad. Yes,
Yeah.
Megad. They see us like glorified Megads or watchmen in uniform. So it's for us, as you can mention, it's for us to bring the industry up to the level that it's important. I tell clients, I'll give you a practical quick example. I had a client, his security guards connived with criminals. They went out with 2 articulated truckloads of fertilizer from his warehouse. And I was telling them that you pay your receptionists more, you pay your laborers, you pay your cleaners more than the security guard, but you leave your multi-million-dollar investment in the hands of maybe a semi-literate guard or somebody who is paid, what, 1,000 naira, 10,000 naira. You close, you go home and leave all that investment in the person's hands. Are you thinking correctly? That's what I tell some clients. You don't recognize us, you don't pay us well, but this is my mistake or my client's mistake. Just like a medical doctor's mistake. One mistake by a doctor, you are dead. One mistake by a security guard, your investments are gone. And I've known companies that have collapsed because guards connived or guards were inattentive and fires and things happened.
Then the basic requirement.
There are no basic requirements in terms of educational standards per the law of Ghana, that's LI 1571, the police service regulations, private security organizations of 1992. There is no regulation, but there's a provision in there which, unfortunately, for 33 years has never been applied. It was put there to help prevent the exodus from companies to companies. You find it in clause 15 of the Act, 5 and 8. Before you come into the industry, you are supposed to have a letter of guarantee from an MP, a magistrate, a judge, a senior police officer, or somebody of similar standing society who's supposed to give you a letter, which you take that letter to the security company of your choice. So after the training of that security company, if they feel that they want to work with you, they are supposed to give you a letter which you send to the Minister of Interior. So basically, it is like, let's say, Company Alex wants to employ Mr. John in their company. So therefore, we are applying for a permit. In Ghana, there are two regimes. The private security organizations are supposed to obtain a license to operate as private security organizations, and the employees are supposed to obtain a permit allowing them to work in the industry. But unfortunately, 33 years, it has never been applied. So anybody just comes in and go in. So you're supposed to go with that letter. So the permit given to you by Interior, which can be withdrawn by the minister at any time, will specify that Alex is supposed to work with Company Alex or Company John. You want to go to Company K, you would have to go for that license to be revoked and a new one issued in the name of the company that you're supposed to work with. That is there, but that provision has never been implemented in 33 years of the existence of our LI 1571.
Then
so that was supposed. Basically, there are no laid out sanctions. What it says is that the minister may withdraw your license anytime if he feels that you have done. But as to the guards, I mean, yes, they can withdraw your license and permits if the minister feels. So it's a broad area for him. But there are no specific sanctions, that if you do this, this will be done. If you do that, no. It just says that the minister has the right and authority to withdraw your license if you feel that you're a threat to national security or for whatever reasons, bankruptcy or insolvency and
the final
stuff.
one
That
is the bearing of arms.
No, our law prevents private security companies are not allowed. It's, as I said earlier, we virtually copied it. If you have time, look at the Guards Act, Nigeria Company Watchman Act 1987. Take it and ours is LI 1571. You see that word to word, almost word to word is what we did in Nigeria, Nigeria is our big brother, so we try and copy them as when we can without admitting that we've copied them.
Thank you for
yes.
that. We appreciate. All right,
yes,
thank you
then,
for all the responses. I appreciate, and
okay.
I've learned a lot in this conversation, and I think we should keep the flag flying. The industry is quite large, very, very interesting industry, and like Captain said, if you have not actually registered with ASIS, you are still a baby in the industry because that's the largest security body all over the world with over 38,000 membership. And it's a place to be. You get more of everything that happens in security all over the world sent to you right in the comfort of your room through email and all the rest. So on this note, I want to really thank all the presenters and all the organizers of this training, and I want to say God bless you all.
Yes, sir. God bless you. In fact, Reverend is a CPP too.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us from far away. Adam.
Okay, thank you very much, Alex, and then all the people who gave us a very good lecture. So I want to speak with specific reference to what is happening in Ghana. So sometimes I'm tempted to believe whether it is with the industry players who are not doing our bit to improve on our ability to be recognized, or it is the political artists. I've been thinking in this way because I think prior to even the formation of APSOC, every private security company in Ghana were just operating like an island. But when APSOC came in, I think they were able to bring along some of the renowned companies together, and then they were speaking with, let's say, one voice, even though there may be differences. Now, one particular thing I noticed, especially when APSOC came into force, is that when Ghana Police Service and the Ministry of Interior realized that the uniform variations in Ghana was becoming, let's say, a national security threat, they came up with an order that henceforth, this is the uniform that we have approved that any private security company should wear. And this was led by APSOC. And once the order was passed, APSOC ensured that that particular implementation was done. So in Ghana now, we wear the same uniform as private security companies. It's only our logo that differentiates us, even though I think recently I'm seeing some little deviation. We were able to do this because there was an order from the regulator, and we, the industry players, must follow. This 2024 election, when the election was about to take place, the Ghana Police Service passed an order that they don't want to see any private security company at the police stations. If they are seen, they will be picked and they will be prosecuted. Through APSOC, this information got down to us and we all complied to it. So I'm just looking at the way we were able to pass on an information from the regulator to the companies to comply with. But in terms of training manual, in terms of salary, cutoff point, nobody can just turn up and come up with this order in form of legislation or let's say legal framework for we the industry player to follow. Because if we're able to actually come out with a regulation on what you can wear and then what you can do, and we are able to follow because we fear that we may be sanctioned, but we cannot actually also follow the same suit and come up with a regulation on salary, cutoff point, and also training manual. Then I think we are just playing around the bush. So this is something that has been bothering my mind. So I want to find out that what is making these particular two areas difficult for us to implement, whilst we are able to do other things, working with an order from the regulator for us to follow. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think Reverend said this year, in fact, you have made my day. He said by the end of this year, something is coming out. And I think I'm going to plan a party and wait for it. Okay, as far as I know, two things must be done. Either we go through Parliament to review the law, or like you said, the minister can issue some directives that this is how things are going to be done. So I think I'm told the Parliament route can be a bit long and widened. So they are choosing the directive one. So we can only hope that that is going to happen. As to why, maybe Reverend, because he's on the ground, can tell us. Reverend.
Yes, Kenneth, thank you. Well, this issue is are contentious, and it boils down to the challenge of the regulation. And some of us, and I still stand that in that corner, were against the instruction issued by the IGP about the change of uniforms. Because for us, and per the Act, the IGP has no authority to order all the companies. It's clearly stated that his job is to approve the uniforms that are brought, not prescribed or prescribed uniforms. And the law says, that's why some of us are saying the law should change, because at that particular time it was passed, they only spoke about the armed forces, the police service, and I think prison service or immigration. I'm a little bit not clear. And the uniforms should not resemble those uniforms. Why did they give the instruction everybody come? You see, they sort of forced it. There was a route they should have taken. They didn't take it. So some of us were pointing out that let's do the right thing. You, the police, are a law enforcement agency. There's no way in the law that says you can decide that I should wear white and black. No. I bring my uniform, you approve. If it's like what the law says you should not, you disapprove and say go and change. That's what we're doing. But then it came down to the point where they didn't have the capacity to do what we call the enforcement and inspection. So come out with a blanket fiat. Everybody should wear it. And some of us argue that it's more of a security threat. Because as we sit now, if you see 4 security guards walking, unless some of you have 20/20 vision or can get close, it's only the badge that differentiates you. So if somebody wears a company uniform, goes to commit a crime, how do you know? When all of us were wearing our uniforms, you know company A from company B, company C, because distinctly they are there. But now all of us are put in a straitjacket. The only differentiation is the badge on your right shoulder, with the APSOC badge on your left shoulder. So till you tell yourself, I'm in a position to see that shoulder, everybody's wearing white shirt and gray trousers. So that's why some of us were saying that it was a knee-jerk reaction to their inability to enforce and regulate the industry. That is, so that is for us, for me, that is my point of view.
Okay.
Now, regulation.
Okay,
so coming down, if they regulate properly, as Captain said, the minister, they are working. I know they've had meetings, and we are happy for that, because one of his first acts in his office was to meet the industry and say, look, I need this industry to work and work well. What can we do? Stakeholder consultation. A committee has been set up doing research onto how to improve. And yes, the acts might take a bit, so he might come, because the law, Section 38 of the Police Act 350 gives him the right to make regulations as to how the industry. So we are looking at, when some of the first regulations is about training, it's about standardization, about standards, which Captain is so passionate about. Then we can start moving on from there. But as you rightly said, my brother Edem, what you said is that you can't legislate me to pay this amount or that amount. Yes, the minimum salary wage is there. Some pay that, some pay above. And even in terms of SNIT payments, if you pay below the SNIT, if you pay below the minimum salary, is it the daily wage, the SNIT system is set up such that you cannot pay your SNIT contribution if you are below the minimum daily wage. So that is also another check to make sure that the companies are paying at least the minimum basic wage. Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Kenneth.
Good. Thank you very much. Any other comments or question from someone else? Question, comment, contribution? Okay, Fred. Fred, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good evening, and thank you all, and thank you so much for all these insights and the training. To be honest, it's a very good one, and I'm very, very happy to hear from Reverend that this is what is going to happen this year. We thank God for his, work also, because a lot of things are entails as far as constitution, the law, judiciary, and all these things will be part. So we also support it with prayer, and we hope that it happens very early. So let's see what will happen next, and we pray for the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any other comment? I've seen something here. Okay. Any other comment or question or clarification? Okay. I think time is far spent. Thank you very much, especially to our special guest, Reverend Alex. He never disappoints. Anytime I invite him, he comes, and my senior brother, Captain Retired Awuni, for making time to join us and share all those beautiful insights. And thank you to everybody who attended. Let's continue educating people for them to appreciate the essence of this. Maybe I don't know what to call it, what a hidden industry. this hidden or quiet or ghost industry, which is core to the development of most economies. If you need the recording, you can send an email to the email on your screen. We will share the recording with you. Thank you for coming. If there's any further comment or question, you can send WhatsApp to the number on your screen. Thank you very much to everyone and have a great evening.
Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you very much, sir. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It was very impactful and insightful. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you too.
And Alex, I hope we took the details from Mr. Uche.
Yes, sir.
You need him. You need him in future.
Yes, sir.
Don't let him escape. He's got
Yes.
a lot of experience. You need.